Our next story is from the United Kingdom. It is sliding into a recession. The economy is shrinking and the latest economic data does not look good. The UK's GDP has contracted by 0.1%. In other words, the British economy has shrunk. This was between July and September. The July to September quarter, there was negative growth. The quarter before that, April to June, there was zero growth. Now, technically, a recession is 2 successive quarters of negative growth. The UK has seen 0 and then negative. So if this quarter is equally bad, it will officially be in recession. But the people of Britain are not waiting for an official declaration. They say recession is already here. There is no growth, there are fewer jobs, poor increments and high costs. In October, wages in the UK grew by 7.3%. It sounds like a decent figure until you take inflation into account. Then the real wage growth stands at just 1.4%. So even if your salary grew, you're not going to feel it. It will hardly reflect in your bank balance. And other indicators are not looking good either. In March, around 10 million Britons were jobless. That's about 25% of the UK's population. Rail fares are rising. The announcement came today. Ticket prices will increase by almost 5% effective next year or next month, whichever way you look at it. So just like their weather, their economy looks gloomy. At this point, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is perhaps the only person who can see the silver lining.
You should believe me when I say this is the best country in the world to invest and to do business because of that unique combination of a competitive tax system, our culture of innovation, and our people.
Sunak gave that statement a few days ago. He was hosting an investment summit. More than 200 CEOs were in attendance. But did they buy the Prime Minister's sales pitch? There may have been a few takers, but arguably not enough to alter the popular assessment. And this is quite a fall for a country that used to be an economic powerhouse. The erstwhile empire is now a pauper. And we are not the ones saying this. This has come from experts who gave the UK a new label last year. They called it, and I'm quoting, one of the poorest countries in Western Europe. On what grounds? Wages in France and Germany are better than the UK. National debt is at an all-time high here, more than 100% of the UK's GDP. And the labour force is not as productive. On this front, the UK lags behind countries like France, Germany, Sweden, even the United States. Once a former Prime Minister even said that British workers are lazy. As of today, 2 million people in the UK go without food for at least 1 day in a month. 1 in 3 children live in poverty. And if you remove London from the UK, the country is as poor as Mississippi, which is the poorest state of America. But let's not just go by statistics and statements. Let's ask a more fundamental question. How should we gauge the strength of great nations? What differentiates the good from the great? It is their crisis management skills, among others, their ability to survive a crisis. Can they do it alone, or do they need help of others to sail through? Where does the United Kingdom stand? Will it be able to survive this economic crisis on its own? It may not. Britons themselves have doubts. In 2016, Mark Carney made a statement. He was the governor of Bank of England, the central bank of the UK. He was speaking about Brexit and its fallout, and this is what he said. Britain may need, and I'm quoting, the kindness of others to finance its deficits. Mark Carney was referring to borrowers here, the creditors of the UK government, the lenders rather. Basically, he was hinting at debt relief. And this statement speaks volumes. The great in today's Great Britain may just be its debt and suffering.